All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to this next video. Really want to do this full-length unboxing on this guy right here. This is the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield Plus. Now, you will have to forgive me because I've already started carrying this just to see it for myself, how it wears, and just kind of grow used to it, I guess. So it's not a legitimate full first reveal or a authentic unboxing, I guess you could say. It's not. So before we dive into this all together, I want to circle back around and get the box out for you guys and kind of, demonstrate this as if I were unboxing it for the first time. All right. All right, so we have got the OEM cardboard box, which, yeah, I said this in my last Smith & Wesson review. On a side note, they really got to tune up their game a little bit with the whole cardboard box situation. I would like to see a nice polymer synthetic box offered by such a big name as Smith & Wesson, especially in their M&P lineup. Now, first thing we are going to do is drop the magazine because I have live rounds, because as I mentioned, I have been carrying. Before I continue any further, I want to make it very clear that this gun did not come with the TLR6. It does not include the Streamlight TLR6. I put this on here because it's just such a perfect fit to the Shield Plus. So I really thought that that was going to be the way to go. But moving along, yeah, this is the notorious blue bag. Matter of fact, you can still even smell the fresh oil in there. Comes with a chamber plug or chamber flag, whatever you wanna call it. So that's kind of nice that they include that in there. It's always nice to see. Then comes with a backup magazine. This is their 10-round magazine. And this one is a flush fitting magazine here, so you don't get that extra pinky support on the bottom of that. I don't know, I guess some people like that, and yeah, so anyways, really good quality magazine. Even the 13-round magazine is very, very good quality. It's even textured on the base pad there, which is cool. Steel mag with a super high-vis orange follower, which is really cool to see that they included that. That's a great idea for high visibility purposes. Then you have one of these guys. You get them with literally every single gun purchase. I've got tons of these things laying around. And then you have your California firearms warning here. You have a registration card that they include, but who would want to do that, I guess? I don't know. That's just, I'm not about registering guns, not my thing. And then here is your safety and instructions manual. It's an alright manual, I guess. I've seen better, I will say that. Again, Smith & Wesson is a pretty big name, and I'm a little disappointed they don't back their products with, good accessories and so on and so forth. But we'll leave it at that. It's cool that they give you an extra mag, and it's cool that they give you a chamber flag and this and that, whatever. I doubt I'm ever going to use that because I have aftermarket chamber flags anyway, so that is the OEM box. That's what the Shield Plus will come in. So that's what you guys can expect. Now, I want to move forward a little bit here. We'll just kind of put this guy out of the way here, because I didn't just get the regular standard edition on the M&P Shield Plus. I got what's called the TacPack. So some of you may be familiar with this, but this is a huge offering buy the Shield, any of the Shield series, I believe, or a lot of the Shield series have this, but I know for sure the Shield Plus, this is a huge offering, and I'm going to explain why. But just before I do, we're going to go through what's included in this TacPack. So we have this this nylon leg bag, which is really cool. I know my camera's zoomed in a little bit here. Yeah, we have this nylon range bag, which is super slick. Just this little foam insert here. And then we got this white box. And then the rest of it is paperwork. So go ahead, set that off to the side. And we're going to look and see what... This is the contents of the TacPack. So this is a fairly decent quality bag. Has the M&P logo up at the top, which is super slick. It's in like a carbon gray, so it stands out, shimmers a little bit. Velcro patch here, or Velcro stitch on, so you can put a patch or whatever you want. Got good quality zippers. Got some Molly right here. Got, you know, side pouches on it. Another side pouch. This looks like it would actually be a really good tourniquet holder right here. So I'd work for a good TQ. And then on the inside, we see not one, not two, but 3 extra magazines this thing comes with. And then in here, we can figure out how to open this. That was a terrible, terrible toss. We have just a little first aid kit. It's not anything special, but it's got, you know, some bandages in here. It's got some alcohol prep pads. It's got some gauze, some towelettes, and some burn cream, Neosporin, just basic stuff. Doesn't have like a gauze wrap or anything like that, but doesn't have, you know, any tools in there. It's just basic first aid, immediate first aid for little cuts and boo-boos, blah, blah, blah. So this gun right here, again, minus the Streamlight TLR6, this gun comes with I'm not going to bring, this is the other mag, but I'm not going to keep that near the gun, obviously, because I know that there's some people who would just lose their marbles if live rounds was near a gun during the review. So, yeah, this gun by itself, out of the black box that I showed you originally, comes with the 113 round magazine and then the 1 backup 10 round magazine. That price point is for about, I want to say $450 somewhere is the going rate, somewhere around that market. Now, with the TacPack, you get the 3 mags, the first aid kit, and the bag for an extra $50. That's what I got it for. I got this whole shebang for $500, and it was incredibly worth it. Incredibly worth it. These magazines, with the quality of them, I would anticipate that they would probably be between the $30 to $40 market. You know, somewhere in that price point, I would have to imagine. I don't know the exact cost on them, but that's just my best guess. Anything, you know, that's a steel magazine, that's a higher capacity magazine, is going to be in that market or beyond. So that right there, just these 3 mags, covers it and then some. And then you get the first aid kit and the leg bag, you know, to finish it off, to top it off. I mean, and you can easily stuff this guy in this bag, and this can be a perfect little backup gun in the event, you know, you can keep it in your truck, you know, or you can carry it. Like I've been carrying this the past week, since I've had it. Let's talk about how it fares compared to its competition in its class. So if we're going with a top 3 here, or if we're just comparing, you know, other competitive, you know, makes in this class of this subcompact here, you know, I would have to say the crown goes to the P365 macro right now. I mean, that thing is probably going to be my next investment. All in all, I mean, a beautiful gun, so much to talk about, so many great values and Really good offerings that it has and that it includes. Aside from the 365 macro by SIG, I would have to say the second most competitive thing for price point, capacity, size, weight, all of that, would have to be the Springfield Hellcat Pro. Not just the Springfield Hellcat, but the Springfield Hellcat Pro. Before I bought this, I actually had the Smith & Wesson M&P CSX, and I ran that thing for 3 or 4 months. I carried it. I had maybe 300 rounds through it. It was a good little gun. It was inspired after the 1911. It had a lot of 1911 characteristics, and it was just something that was different. It wasn't a striker fire polymer frame, you know, compact or subcompact, whatever you want to call it. But I just didn't bond with it. And, I'm hoping a different story for this guy here. Because I've had my sights set on this for a little while now, ever since I owned the CSX. And I've kind of figured to myself, oh, why don't I just buy a Shield Plus? The Shield Plus is probably, aside from the other two that I mentioned, the macro I know goes for around $800 in it of itself. And the Hellcat Pro is around $600 in and of itself. For whether you want to, do the smart thing like I did and just buy the TacPack here for $500 and get 5 magazines with a first aid kit and a leg bag, or if you want to save $50, or I think it's $50 or $60, whatever, and just buy the gun and get 2 mags, I think that this is a really, really good carry option for many, many reasons. Obviously, it's size. This is just a cheap little holster that I bought off of Amazon. Nothing to write home about at all. It's kind of comfortable. It definitely retains it very well. I mean, it does its job. It's sturdy. It protects it. It's got a decent riser on it, or sweat guard, whatever you want to call it, on the front there. Fit for right-hand draw. And it, obviously runs the TLR 6. But let's really dive into the characteristics about the M&P Shield Plus and why it is such a good bang for your buck. So, first and foremost, I'm going to have to give it just the overall usability and user-friendly controls. A new gun owner could pick this thing up and run this thing until it doesn't run anymore. It is so user-friendly, and all of the controls on it are very, very accessible. The ergonomics are just, they're nothing crazy, but they're just basic. They're standard. They're default. The ergonomics feel good. It's a simple design, and the texturing is actually very, very aggressive. Well, not very aggressive, but I should say it is aggressive enough. You don't need to go and buy, rubberized grip to throw on here at all. You don't need to get custom stippling done on it unless you absolutely want to. You want to make it a little more aggressive, or do something up here by the where the thumb rest would be. For your support hand. But other than that, the texturing feels good in your hands. It really does. You can get a really high grip on it up underneath the rear of the frame. It does not have interchangeable back straps, which isn't that big of a deal. Normally on the M&P series, you'd be able to take this piece out right here, twist it, and it's a little tool to alleviate this backstrap and palm swell area, and then you can just fold in new modular pieces or whatever. But the Shield Plus does not offer that. Not the end of the world for me at all, because just by default it feels good in my hand. And I have fairly larger hands. This thing is about the size of my hand, believe it or not. So it still feels good in my hand, especially with the base plate in there. You can get a full grip on it, and it feels like you're holding a Glock 19. The magazines do drop freely, even when they're empty, which is a huge benefit. That's just something that I personally like a lot. I get a little disappointed when there's too much friction there between the inside of the frame and the magazine, where it gets held up and you got to strip that mag out. You want that magazine to reliably eject freely while it's empty. So that's a huge plus there in my eyes. Rest of the controls, the slide release here is accessible. It's not protruding from the frame. like extremely crazy. It is fairly recessed in there, but you can access it, no problem. You don't have to adjust your grip at all. It's just right there. And oh geez, that is stiff. Come on, cut. Okay, here's one for the bloopers, I guess. Jesus, man, that's really. Whew. Okay, we gotta work that in or something. I mean, it doesn't really want to. Wow. Okay, so that's maybe a negative. Old Granny Smith or whatever would not be able to actuate that. So, side note again, not to rant, but that's why I always say just racking the slide never fails. Just in case you're in a heat of a moment and you are going to rely on that slide release and you just can't get it. I mean, I'm putting a decent amount of force into that. I still can't get the damn thing. That's ridiculous. Maybe that just needs to be worked in or broken in. But okay, well, I retract what I said about the slide release. It's not the greatest, apparently. The trigger I will complain about. It is cool to have a flat face trigger in there. And then it's got that little safety thing, just like Glock has, where you can't decompress the trigger without pushing that in. Although the trigger is audible and it has a nice reset, you really can't actuate it if you have any pressure, detent pressure on too much of the sides and not so much in the center. You will not be able to actuate that trigger, and it took me a while to kind of get used to that, just doing some practice draws and some dry firing with it. But the trigger isn't terrible. It is not terrible. You have that little bit of wiggle take up, and then you hit a pretty noticeable wall, and the break is very clean. The reset is very short. It's very audible. It's very tactile. I like that. I like the trigger. I think it has a very nice trigger in it, minus the safety thing. Like I said, you have to be dead center in the middle of it. If you move anything to the side, you have to. You see how it doesn't go off right away? It's like, well, now it's working, of course, but I mean, you really have to put. It's just it catches almost. It like locks up almost. I don't know. It's weird, but you really have to be dead center middle with that trigger. Another thing that's really cool about the any of the M&P series, well, at least any of the ones that I'm familiar with, is the takedown mechanism. Now, this is my first time taking it down, but I am familiar with the M&Ps. All you do is you literally, there's a spring in here, and you have to put a little bit of tension on it to get it, because you're decompressing that spring. But as you've seen, I locked the slide back, and then you flip this lever down. You take and you put that slide release down, put some pressure on it, and then it should. Do you have to cock it? Oh, you have to decompress the trigger. I forgot that part apparently. But yeah, the internals look very, very similar to a Glock. This reminds me actually a lot of my Glock 43 when I had it. And then let's kind of look at the internals of the slide. Again, very, very Glock resemblance. Has a very serious Glock resemblance. Fairly easy to take down. There's your 3.1 inch barrel right there. Very easy to swap out. Now, obviously, I have not shot this thing yet, so it's still fairly clean from the factory. The only thing I have done to it was mounted the Streamlight on it, got the holster, and wore it around for the past week. But other than that, I have not had any experience with the gun itself. And then you just put the slide back onto the frame by lining it up with those rails that we just did. So you just literally take that slide, get it nice and tight to those rails of the frame. Kind of watch out for your ejector here, and then bring it all the way back. Give it a nice little rack, and then bring it all the way back again, or you can just do that in the first place. I don't know why. Anyways, bring it all the way back to where your slide is locked back. Your slide release is locked in place, and then you just take that lever, that takedown lever, and that spring will kick it back forward into place, no problem. There it goes. Holy smokes, finally. Okay. All right. Furthermore, onto the slide. So we see that it's got Smith & Wesson's notorious like fish scale serrations. It's got like that fish scale texture kind of look. I mean, they feel good. You can definitely get a good purchase on them, whether you're just running it barehanded or with gloves. Also has these very low profile fish scales up top for doing press checks. Towards the top of the slide, it's got this really nice, just this like billboard across the slide here. It's really nice machining, and it, you know, obviously has the M&P logo with the you know, the cartridge, the M&P 9 Shield Plus, the model. And then we have the S&W logo, and it's not a very gaudy logo. It looks clean. They did a really good job on it. On this side, you know, it has Smith & Wesson, Springfield, Massachusetts, USA, blah, blah, blah. And then the front, we can see there's not a lot of beveling. It's not a squared off front. It's kind of rounded, but it's not very beveled, other than like right here, just for reholstering purposes. I got some tapered beveling right here, which turned out really good. And then at the very top of the slide, we can see that we do have a round indicator, even though, you know, we were just talking about press checking. This window here is there, so you can see the rim of the brass, so that, you know, that brass, that shiny brass, should be peering through that window if there is a round in the chamber. And aside from that, we see they did include an optics cut, which is super cool, because that's becoming more and more popular. That's becoming today's standard with compacts or carry firearms, or just handguns in general. That's just becoming the new standard, which is cool to see that everyone is following along with that and trying to stay competitive. Another huge selling point for me personally with the Shield Plus is that it comes with night sights. These are tritium night sights, and the night sights, I mean, when they're not glowing, that red dot is very, very easy to pick up between the 3-dot system. You can kind of see where it would glow on the rear aperture here, obviously. But let's go ahead, dim the lights out here, see if we can catch this for you guys. No, well, a little bit. I didn't get it dark enough, I feel like. But they do glow very nicely, you know, in dark areas. The sights by themselves, even if they weren't night sights, this is a very nice set of sights, all in, for sure. You don't want to be too cheap, but you don't want to, you know, break the bank either. And I feel like this gun right here is literally right in the middle of that. It's not going to break your pocketbook, but at the same time, you're not cheaping out on a low budget or a budget friendly option. This is backed by a incredible name, and it definitely has a lot to offer any shooter, whether you are a beginner or you're more in the advanced classification. This is a fair pick right here. I really like what they did with the Shield Plus. For those of you who don't know much about the Shield series, they had the original Shield and then the Shield 2.0, and then they came out with the Shield Plus. The original Shield, I believe, had a 6-round magazine. The Shield 2.0 had an 8-round magazine, and now the Shield Plus, obviously, like I said before, like we covered, has a 10-round magazine and or a 13-round magazine. Now, that's not above its class, unfortunately, because the Macro's got it beat. It's a little bigger of a gun, just by a tad, but the Macro has a 17+1 capacity. The Hellcat Pro has a 15+1 capacity, and it's roughly this size. But the Shield Plus, I mean, if you're not overly concerned about capacity and you feel that 13 or 10 is more than enough to do your duty with whatever you may need it for, to get yourself out of a bad situation, or maybe home defense or a truck gun as a backup, whatever, I think that this is a good buy. Again, I said it twice already, I'll say it for a third time. This does not come with the TLR6. I just put it on there because I knew it was going to look dead sexy with the TLR6. I mean, come on, it looks like a little Bond gun, you know, a little dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. I mean, come on, like let's get real here. Nerds, stand with me on that one. It looks like a little James Bond gun. It looks super slick, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So I'm gonna rock it. I'm going to wear it for a while. I'm going to put these extra magazines in this bag. And then I'm going to keep that in my truck. I'm going to run the IWB holster. I'm going to run it. I'm going to take it to the range. I'm going to shoot it. I'm going to see how much hell I can put it through and get some range footage. And we'll put it through some trials. I really, really want to see what it can hold up to, and just if it's going to be as reliable as I perceive it's going to be. You know, I mean, I doubt that I'm going to have any issues. You know, it's an incredible design, incredible make. I really hope that this video kind of gave you a little more insight in the event that you're thinking about buying one of these. This is a very, very highly acclaimed firearm choice for, you know, new gun owners, or, you know, whether you're getting into carry or you're getting into personal defense stuff, or you just want a nice little concealable gun for your nightstand, or, like I said, a backup gun to keep in your truck. Just a nice option, nice alternative for sure. For those of you who found this video helpful, I would really appreciate a thumbs up. If you guys haven't already subscribed, make sure you go ahead, click that little bell right there, and subscribe to the channel. We're going to be doing tons of other reviews and unboxings on not only guns, but gear, knives, flashlights, optics, magazines, holsters, you name it. I've got a ton of ideas and content that I want to share with everybody. So, you know, any support that you guys can toss me would be really cool, and it would be very much appreciated. So, until the next video, guys, thank you so much for watching. You guys stay safe, stay happy, and stay ready. We'll catch you in the next one, guys.